Continue.
Hi, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
This is the young man talking to you.
Yes.
And it's hard for me to focus this idea, so I'm going to try my best.
Oh, all right. I know you always will.
It has something to do with something called like making decisions.
Making decisions.
Yeah, no, that's like not a fun way to put it.
All
Okay,
right.
So
I had fun saying it.
All right.
Making decisions.
I'll give you the example of my own personal life. Okay.
All right. Can you all hear?
Can you all hear? Okay. About a week ago, all of a sudden I got this great idea because I saw a kayak at my friend's house on this lake. And I thought, I want to go to school and learn to use a kayak.
Kayak. Yes.
So all of a sudden, right away it came to me. I went and got a canoe magazine, and there's this 5-day school up in Northern California where you learn to kayak down whitewater and all this. I thought, oh, how exciting.
All right. Yes.
Okay, so what I'm doing is sharing the way I'm dealing with this, okay?
All right.
So immediately I thought, well, now, is this the right thing for me to do? Like, what a weird question. Right? Is this the right thing for me to do? Because, I am working, and I don't have the money. So this confusion happened, right?
All right.
And so I got kind of bummed out. I thought, well, now, what does that mean?
Bummed.
Yeah. Well, okay, so let me finish then.
Yes.
Okay, so I got confused because I was co-using two ideas, which was one thing.
No, all right.
Okay, so what I've been doing is instead of saying, well, is it the right thing to do or the wrong thing, or am I really supposed to go there or not?
Yeah, supposed to not, yeah.
Right, because I realized there was no answer to that. I realized what I'm going to do is act on what excites me the most at every moment, and if I find myself there,
Yes.
then I know that that was the idea that fulfilled the exciting me the most at the moment.
What?
See?
Yes.
Okay. That's a big step. So, okay, so that's what I've been doing because I really don't know if I'm meant to be there or not.
All right.
And I don't want to force being there if I'm not meant to be there. And then I thought, but what does meant to be there mean anyways?
Yes.
Right? So what I've done is I've incorporated this whole idea, and that is that my life is about doing what excites me the most and having it all at the same time. So I can't lose if I go there like, oh, maybe my job will screw up or something.
Yes.
And if I stay doing what I'm doing, that will end up being more exciting than going, see?
Well, congratulations.
Do you have anything you want to share with me about that?
Only that the rapids are obviously a symbol of how quickly you're accelerating.
And what's really exciting is I had the idea and I didn't have the money, and this person I recently met said, don't worry, put it on my credit card.
All right.
And I thought, oh, that's really neat. I mean, it's all just like coming together.
Yes.
And I think I'm already there.
Always does, and you already are.
And I just want to say that through knowing you and our interactions together, I can now feel in my being that I can be there and not lose abundance by not doing so-called work.
Well, thank you for being an example and a reflection of trust itself.
Yeah, 'cause I know once I'm there, it's going to happen. Or I wouldn't be there.
You will. You'll be the first to know.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I would love to.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sure.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
I have experiences that we call psychic.
Yes.
I ask questions and I get information about people's pasts and futures.
Yes.
I can pendulum and get answers to questions.
Yes.
I can allow a power to come through me that can heal people.
Everyone can.
What I would like to know is if you can tell me where the information comes from when I get this information. when I
All
ask
that
these
is.
questions.
It comes from all that is. You are an extension of all that is. It comes from you. It comes from all that is. You have access to all of it because it is all within you. That's what we are here to remind all of you of. That you are all extensions of all that is and have access to every part of it.
And some of what is may not be truth.
It
And
is
that's the
all
distinction.
truth. Truth is relative. There is no the truth. Now, certain things may be more applicable in certain dimensions than others, in what you may call a practical sense. But that doesn't mean that the rest of it isn't true. Understand?
I do, and my question has to do with the distinction between what comes to me that
All
may
right.
be truth
All
and
right.
may not be.
Again, it is all truth. All of it is truth. However, remember this. Anything that you perceive, first of all, when anyone is functioning in a psychic manner, is simply a sensing of the energy that is most prevalent at the time the sensing is made. When you say, well, I sense the past, I sense the future, you are not sensing the past, you are not sensing the future. Because the past and the future do not empirically exist, except in the present, from where they are created. Everything exists now. So when you have a psychic sensing of something, what you are doing is you are being sensitive to the energy in a particular individual or group of individuals or circumstance or situation that may, at the time you are sensing it, be the most likely energy to manifest into physical reality because it has a great deal of momentum behind it. But that can change in the very next second. So the idea of maintaining a balance and recognizing what is immediately applicable in your dimension or not applicable in your dimension, which doesn't mean that any one is more true than another, but simply perhaps more applicable in your immediate dimension, is to simply recognize that there is no absolute future. There is no absolute past. And there really is no absolute truth except for the fact that everything exists. Beyond the idea that everything exists, from that point forward, it is your definition of how you agree to define the reality you are in. And even if you are in that reality with someone else, you are making an agreement to share that reality. Because each and every individual is completely the totality of all that is, expressed in another way, reflecting to itself, from itself, all the mirrors that it is, so that it can experience itself in all the ways that it can. Therefore, in your sensing, simply recognize whatever your primary original intention is to begin with, however well integrated and clear you are, will determine what type of vibratory information you attract and will determine what type of individuals you attract to share that vibratory information with. But remember, all you are doing in any case is what we are doing, which is reflecting back to another individual what they already know. You are simply being used as a symbol in service to allow that other individual to let it be all right for them to hear what they already know from themselves through you. A medium, a psychic in that sense, is literally a conduit, a symbol that allows an individual to talk back to themselves in an acceptable manner through someone else, when they will allow the information that they need to hear to be heard. However, remember that if you simply allow the idea of the broadest interpretation to unfold, you will generally be most quote-unquote accurate. For the idea is simply that if you have an opinion about the information that is coming through, then you can color it with your opinion. In other words, you can see the information that may be meant for someone else, and you can immediately apply it to how that information would work for you and give them the information that would actually work for you best. Now, the idea, therefore, is to simply be as broad with the information, for nothing in that sense is absolute in terms of a future or a past. Give a sensing of probabilities, a sensing of likelihoods, for an individual is always in control of the creation of their reality and always has the option upon hearing your prediction to change it, simply because they have heard the prediction and may not prefer where you have sensed their energy was. As soon as they change where their energy was, that prediction or that psychic sensing can be folded up very flat and thrown out the window. It no longer applies to the new person that they are, and you have to take the sensing all over again. For the new person they have just created themselves to be, based upon their reaction to the old sensing that you gave them. Now, some things that are quote-unquote predicted, as you say, way in advance, that seem to come to pass, are simply sensings of an energy that exists at the time the sensing is made, that simply have such a great deal of momentum behind it, it is unlikely that the person or group will alter that energy. Not that they can't, simply that you are telling them it is unlikely that they will, by how strongly you feel or perceive the idea. Is this making some clarification?
Yes, it is. Sometimes I see entities, people
Yes,
or
yes.
something, voices speak to me.
Yes.
Can you tell me who they are?
Well,
from what
sometimes they
level
are representative of many different levels, what you may call spirit guides, what you may call higher consciousness, what you may call the oversoul consciousness, what you may simply call the collective consciousness, what you may call extraterrestrial consciousness. Any label you wish to give it will do, in a sense, since everything is really ultimately the same one thing, manifesting in all the different ways that it can. It doesn't really matter what you label it, in the ultimate sense. The information will always come along the path of least resistance, because psychic functioning functions like what you call electricity, and will always take the shortest route. So it doesn't really matter to apply a particular label. As long as you know what your intention is, as long as you know what kind of a conduit you are, then simply trust that the information coming through will serve the purpose of what you have defined yourself to be.
That's wonderful. I have one more
Oh,
question.
all right.
It has to do with dealing with what we call entities. For
Yes.
instance, negative entities that may take over.
One moment.
people.
Did you hear what I just said?
Yes, I did.
Then recognize again, whatever fear an individual has within them may determine a vibration that will simply attract them into a universe where they can interact with what you call other negative entities. Because fear creates a being to be a negative entity. The idea is to simply recognize that the idea of negative interaction simply has nothing to do with what you have defined yourself to be. Then you will not be of that vibration, you will not be of that universe, and anything that is of that negative universe simply can't find you. Understand? So it is only the fear of interaction generally with the idea of negative entities that attracts the interaction with negative entities. Recognize what I'm saying? Is it making sense?
I'm a little unclear about it.
All right. Do you understand that everything is vibration?
Yes.
Then do you understand that you create your reality based upon whatever vibration you define yourself to be?
Yeah.
Do you understand you can't get a program you're not tuned to?
Sure.
Well, then how can any idea of negative entity interact with anyone who is not tuned into the idea of negativity? Understand?
I understand, and the question that comes up for me is, in the world,
What world? You are the world in which you live. And yes, you may recognize that other individuals may be choosing to live in fear and negativity and attracting themselves into negative circumstance. But that's their choice. You can remind them that's their choice. And if they don't prefer it, once they are reminded that that's their choice, they can change it. And will never experience from that moment forward the idea of any negative effect in their life. It is all where they tune themselves into. Your service, in the way you wish to serve individuals, is to simply give them an opportunity to recognize that they have the power and the choice to choose to operate on a positive vibration and attract a positive reality, or operate on a negative vibration and attract a negative one. But it's their choice. You can't tell them what to do. But you can offer them an opportunity to recognize they have the ability to choose. Is that making sense?
yeah, that's very clear. Thank you.
Thank you for your service. Sharing. And to you, good day.
I'd like to ask you if you could talk a little bit about, speak a little bit about light.
Light.
Yes, as an elementary.
Everything is made of light.
Yes.
Everything. Light is love. It is the prime manifestation in energy terms of the unconditional love of creation. Light is love, love is light. This may not sound scientific, but that's what it is. Light is love. Love is the prime chord, the primal frequency, the primal vibration of creation. Everything is made of light, literally.
Okay. Thank you.
You're
I'm
welcome.
confused about this that you're saying now, and why it seems like a bit, not like a barrier, but like a limit in the physical universe. Like the speed, when we talk about the speed of light.
Yes.
And some people
It is
say
only a
that
definitional barrier. It is only, in that sense, a definition. It is the definition that creates what you call the physical universe. That is all. In of itself, it is not a barrier. One manifestation of light, what you recognize as pure light, is only one manifestation of an overall phenomena of light. The one manifestation you recognize as light is simply the definitional barrier of your physical dimension. But there are dimensions beyond that. They're all made out of light, but not the same type of light. The idea is to recognize that when you exist in a physical universe, you are a particular frequency. If you then change your frequency, you can literally define yourself out of that universe and into another one without really having traveled at all. You simply redefine yourself and reappear wherever the new definition befits.
But what about doing it with the body? Because I feel like I do
You can do that with the body too, and you actually do that with the body all the time. When you take a step from one spot to another, you're actually constantly recreating yourself, redefining yourself. Now, simply as a society, you are learning that you don't necessarily have to create the interim steps between A and Z. You can just create step A, step Z. There you are. Just like was described earlier by the individual driving her automobile. It is all up to you and how you define the idea of physical reality. It is very fluid, very malleable. Since it is literally made of light, you can project whatever kind of shadow you want by creating whatever type of definitional structure you want. And whatever structure you create will then, because of the light that illuminates all, project whatever kind of shadow, physical reality, is representative of the structure you have created, the definition.
Physically, I've been doing some, well, like a drill, okay?
Yes.
Like, when I see light, well, this white light, for instance, okay,
Yes.
that facilitates me, like, creating shapes.
Yes.
But these shapes, the only thing, I cannot make it like, how can I say, like, they vanish
Yes.
soon, you know? And I
Yes.
was trying, like, making some other shapes, like little animals or whatever. And I see the shapes, but then vanish.
Yes. But
What
the
do
shape is
what
only
do I
a
do
symbol.
Yeah, okay.
It is a symbol of an idea.
Yeah.
And the idea is that when they vanish,
Yes.
it is not that they have gone anywhere, it is that you have become it. It is no longer outside of you. You are it. Understand?
Yes. So it's like I want to do something, and that's the far I could go.
You can go as far as you wish,
Okay.
as fast as you wish. It's up to how you define the reality.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Sharing.
Good evening.
And to you, good day.
You've talked to several different people about expectation before.
Yes.
And we had talked about medicine, science, and politics.
Yes.
And I'm still working through this, but...
All right, are you having a good time?
Oh, yes,
Oh,
very much so.
All right.
And I think I finally come upon a clue to the solution.
A clue.
Good.
Oh, all right. How
The-
exciting.
People, myself and other people, talk about veiled purposes.
Yes.
Okay. It appears not to be so much a veiled purpose,
Yes.
but a perhaps unrealized expectation.
Oh, very good.
So as if you were, let's say you had a plan to go to a party tomorrow,
Yes.
and then you're at the party tomorrow,
Yes.
but your experience of the party as it's going on conflicts with your expectation.
Yes.
And then it creates an illusion of a veiled purpose.
Yes.
So you're not really there.
Correct.
You're kind of bouncing back and forth between being there and looking at your expectations.
Yes.
Could you
That can be quite a party.
have a feeling it's been going on for quite a while?
Yes.
Could you expound upon that?
Or simply that, as you have outlined it so succinctly, with not much more to add, the idea is that when you build a certain expectation, that is what you attend, so to speak. And in that sense, you are therefore looking for things that may be representative of what you don't really want, but what you have been taught to expect. And so as each and every one of those things is then shown to you in the format that actually serves you, then you make a comparative judgment. And in those judgments, you are becoming the vibration of judgment itself. You are judging yourself, finding yourself coming up short, and in that sense then create not a very happy time for yourselves. But the idea is in recognizing that you can create an expectancy, you can create a vision and an image that can be used as a guide to get you where you need to go, but then allow the way it happens to be the way it needs to happen. join the party as it is, rather than thinking it should be a certain way, because as it is the party you need to join. That will serve you. And then, paradoxically, you will usually find that as soon as you allow the way it is to be the way you need it to be, it will automatically transform into what you thought it was going to be to begin with. Because you have accepted it the way it is, and when you own it, you can change it. If you don't own it, you can't change it. Is that enough of an expoundment?
Yeah.
Well, thank you for applauding yourselves. Sharing.
Hello, Bashar.
Hello.
How are you?
Perfect, and you?
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you. A reminder to individuals who may not have heard the idea before, being perfect doesn't mean you do not change. Doesn't mean you do not grow. It simply means that whatever and whoever you are right now is an absolutely perfect whatever and whoever you are right now.
I'm a perfect whatever I am right now.
Yes. We are still trying to figure that
Well, you know what, Bashar? I need clarification.
All right. Go ahead and give it to her.
That you needed to. Okay. That you presented to us once before, or several times before. Okay, you said that the oversoul
Yes.
of any individual being, right, can actually manifest itself or represent itself by another being or many different beings or an infinite number of beings, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, can that be the case in one physical plane, for instance? Can that condition exist in the third dimension here on Earth? Could the
Do you mean
condition-
can the oversoul be used up in one dimension?
No, that's okay. I know what okay. This is what I'm trying to say. For instance,
Yes.
in this lifetime, in this incarnation, in this dimension,
Yes, now.
can there be another representation of my oversoul embodied in another body?
Yes. It's what we refer to as a counterpart.
That's your counterpart.
It is another life, but simply in the same overlapping time frame that you exist in. Not a past nor a future life, but a contemporary alternate life.
Holy moly! You mean that means that you could be having a conversation with
Another aspect of the same soul that you are. Yes.
oh,
Brings up all sorts of possibilities, doesn't it?
That it does.
All right.
Okay.
And it can be any type of interaction at all. Any type at all. Positive and or negative.
But it's essentially then what part does the oversoul is not really particular to an individual
No.
entity.
The oversoul is all of them. Again, it's the idea of the hand on your arm. It has many fingers, does it not? They all go back to the same hand. And the hand simply considers that it needs all the fingers to be a fully functioning hand. The oversoul needs all the fragments, all the extensions, to be represented as a fully functioning oversoul. And some of them can simply exist at the same time. Why not? If you wish different points of view in the same time frame, then what simpler way than to create different identities in the same time frame?
Well, that makes sense the way you're presenting it.
Oh,
but,
thank you.
But you're welcome. But the way that
Are you going to scramble it up now?
yeah.
Go ahead.
But in practical application, if there could be such a thing,
All right.
but we are supposed to each individually possess, or from my understanding, we are each our own entity,
Yes.
our own individual.
It is always both. The single and the collective. Always both. Because all that is, what you call God, is a single and the collective of every being within creation.
Okay, but then what you're saying are the oversouls are
God is the
actually-
ultimate oversoul, in other words.
And then there are
Sub-oversouls. Yes.
that are like the subtopics of God.
Yes. Very well put.
Thank of unscrambling it. It's still pretty bizarre.
Well, all right. All you have to do is stop thinking linearly.
Right.
Have you heard the idea of what we have called the film analogy?
No.
All right. You are a projectionist. All right?
Right.
Now, single lives are analogous to the single frames on a film. One frame doesn't necessarily relate to the next frame. But in order to see the continuity, you have to view all the frames in what you would call linear order. Understand?
Right.
But as far as you, the projectionist, are concerned, the oversoul is the projectionist. The whole film exists right now, doesn't it? It's all right there in the can, isn't it? Beginning and ending, and all the middle. You understand the analogy?
Yes, I do.
To the oversoul's point of view, all the frames exist at once. From within the frame work of the film. Each frame seems to be its own moment, its own life, its own distinct persona and individual, and it is. But it is also a part of the collective whole, and as far as the projectionist is concerned, even though you have to view it linearly to make sense out of it in your dimension, the whole film still exists all at once.
But if we have to deal with things in a linear fashion,
Yes.
just in the third dimension,
Yes.
is there a way that can uncomplicate, excuse me, being able to acknowledge or
Yes,
tell who is also,
yes. Just live the life you're living. Stay in the moment with it. Just live it as you create it, and create it as you desire it to be. Just stay in the moment. Yes. Understand?
yes, I do.
Because the more you live in the moment, the less time you create. And therefore things don't have to be, in that sense, in a continuum. Cause and effect can reverse themselves. If you take any one single frame of film, do you know when it is in the film? No. It's just a single frame. Understand?
Right.
So it doesn't really matter. It is all relative. If you simply live as the single frame you are at any given moment, you don't have to relate it to where you are, when you are, how much longer you've got to go, how far you've come. It's infinite in all directions. How can you measure where you are when it is always going to be infinite in all directions?
One big party.
Yes. You're always at the center. Always. Because it's always infinite in all directions, from wherever you are. Understand? Does this assist you?
Yes, it
Well,
does.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Enjoy the show.
Thanks, Bashar. Good night.
On to you. Sharing.
Hi, Bashar.
Hi.
How you doing?
Perfect, and you?
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Quite a process.
Oh, yes.
Can you elaborate? Last 2 months?
Do you feel rain-washed to some degree?
Yeah, that would be an understatement in a lot of ways.
Oh, all right. Are your feet on the ground?
Both of them, yeah.
All right. Do you enjoy life?
Absolutely.
All right. Is there something you wish to do that you're not doing?
A couple things.
All right. Can you name them?
I'd like to get back to work
Go right ahead.
in the specific area I want to work in.
Go right ahead.
That door is open.
Why not?
Hasn't been.
That was then.
Okay.
Who are you now?
Me.
Depends on how you define the you are.
Mhm.
Do you really want it to be open?
Absolutely.
Why?
It's something I want to do.
Because that's who you are then.
Exactly.
Then if that is who you are, be that way. And if you are that way, no door that is representative of who you are can be closed to you. If you really believe that's who you are.
Right.
All the doors that are representative of who you are have no locks. The ones that have locks are the ones that represent who you're not. All right? Remember that it is a slight shift in perspective, a very slight shift that is the turning of the key. So know that if that perspective is true for you, act like it and be that person, and you will walk through those doors unimpeded, as long as it is being done with integrity. and both feet on the ground. While your heart is soaring, and you know that your head, in that sense, is in the heavens, for there to be a complete connection, the feet must be on the ground. So, take the steps in full trust and flow with however the doorways seem to be opening. It is only a misconception that if the pathway seems to be winding, that somehow it is not the straightest path, but it is. Let it wind. The doors that open are the doors you need to go through. They don't have to appear to be connected, doesn't have to appear to be going down the direction you thought, but it will take you there. As long as you keep moving with trust and integrity, those doors will swing wide. All right?
Yeah, right.
Also, that whole energy blending thing really,
Yes.
it's hard to put into words. How,
Well, then go.
just how encompassing is it with relationship to other groups? Or was it specifically?
It was quite a unifying shockwave.
Okay. So,
Quite a unifying shockwave, and that's why there is more acceleration now. And that is why individuals are beginning to slip in and out of time.
Right. So when you say harmonic convergence,
Yes.
what we did.
Was literally converge the harmonics.
Right.
Now remember, as we have said, harmonic convergence is part 2 of a 4-part harmonic. Initiated 40 of your years ago, harmonic initiation, harmonic convergence now, the coming together, the creating of the limbo state to choose all probable realities that are converging. Then, in the choosing of the way that represents who you are, in approximately 30 of your years, the harmonic identification, wherein the reality you have chosen will become almost exclusively the reality you will experience, and then 10 years after that will be the harmonic synchronization, which will allow your reality to blend with all other realities in space and time. Thank you. Sharing.
Greetings, Bashar.
And to
I am
you.
Susan.
Hello, Susan.
I have an experience I'd like to share with you.
Well, all right, share with all.
And have your perspective on it.
Maybe.
If you won't give it, I'm going to sit down now. It was dawn of the morning of the convergence, and a group of people were celebrating.
Yes.
And
May I interrupt you for one brief moment?
sure.
Thank you very much. Everybody stand up. Sit down. Just checking. Continue.
We're alive.
All right. Remember that all things that are shared are pertinent to all. Yes.
Is everyone listening? We were in, I was in, and I assumed everyone else was, in a deep meditation, a very peaceful, loving, spiritual kind of meditation. And
Yes.
we had gone into it for about 20 minutes, I suppose. It's really hard, it's not important.
Thank you.
And I had an impression, I think it was an impression, a vision, I'm not
Nice.
sure,
You're not sure, all right.
of a rifle being raised
Yes.
on the fence close to me and being aimed at me.
Yes.
And the rifle was shot
Yes.
and a bullet went through my head.
Yes.
I felt no fear. I felt startled and
Right.
surprised.
All right.
And I was sure that I had been killed.
You were! And immediately reborn. You have passed through something that occurred to you in a past life to allow yourself to know now that the reality you have defined yourself to be will not allow the old reality to be able to touch you. It will simply pass through you. You have met yourself and redefined yourself. The old you is no longer something that can be stopped by, in that sense, an old definition. You are a new you, which doesn't relate to the old idea. Understand?
Absolutely. I had a lot of different impressions, a lot of different ideas about what it was.
But which one did you prefer to relate to?
Well, some people say that during the time of the Convergence celebration, there would be a tree of life and light that would break away and become crystals of light and
Yes,
spread out
that's
amongst
all of
us.
you.
And I thought possibly I was receiving my crystal at that time.
Very good.
I was, wasn't I?
Yes. And you became as transparent as one, so that old realities have no meaning for you. They will simply pass right through you, no matter how negative they seem.
I love it. Yeah.
Well, you created it. And you created it out of the fact that you love it. That's how you do it. Understand?
I do.
You
Does
either
anyone have any
create-
questions?
All right. You create what you love, or you create what you fear. It is up to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Shetty.
Hi, Bashar.
Aye.
I wanted to ask you about a question about AIDS.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've discussed this to some degree.
Have you?
Yes.
Well, I was wondering if your civilization has the technology and the know-how to cure this disease.
You do.
Oh, we do.
Yes.
But does your civilization have it?
We no longer have disease at all.
Well, couldn't you help some of us out?
I already have.
Oh, well, how have you done that?
By telling you how to cure yourselves.
And how's that?
To blend the polarities within you. For it is only because you create the imbalance of positive and negative, male and female energy within you, in an imbalanced state that creates dis-ease.
Yeah, but the disease already exists. And,
We understand that, and your world has created it out of its imbalance. Now, we know that there may be, in your terms, physiological cures, but no
Right,
physiological cure will ever be discovered until a cure in your consciousness is created.
Well, I was thinking maybe your civilization or maybe some other civilization
Yes.
could give ours some of the technology to help.
We have already done so. One very strong technique will be to place an individual in a strongly aligned magnetic field that is pulsing at approximately 7½ cycles per second. This can aid in aligning the entire physiological structure of the being back to its normal center, in which there is absolutely no possibility of experiencing disease. However, recognize that no matter what information we give you, if your world doesn't believe it will work, it won't use it.
So is that to say that you just get rid of the virus? Or is you neutralize it?
You allow yourself, in a sense, perhaps, more appropriately, to neutralize. Because the idea is that when you are in a balanced state, by definition, you cannot contain disease.
Okay, well I was thinking maybe coming up with a vaccine, because it seems to me a lot of people are going to get this anyway and they're never going to have the opportunity.
That's their choice.
What's their choice?
You create your reality.
Yeah, that's true, but at
But
the
what?
moment of contracting the disease, you don't really know that you're creating a reality.
But it's an opportunity to do so, isn't it?
Well, sure, for me, but say we're
Yes.
talking about some poor black kid out there and he's shooting drugs or something.
Yes.
He's never going to have the opportunity to come.
He might. How do you know that?
Well, he
How do
might,
you know that?
but let's talk about probabilities then.
All right. What do you believe are the probabilities? And before you continue, understand that what you believe the probabilities to be will be the reality you get.
No, we're talking about his probabilities. They're
Your belief about his probabilities will attract into your reality individuals with like probabilities to reflect to you what your belief is.
Oh, that's a little complex for me to swallow.
No, it's not. It's very simple.
Oh, is it?
Yes. You always attract into your reality what is basically reflective of what you believe to be the most likely probable reality you will be able to experience. In the overall sense of living in the type of world you are defining yourself to live in. You cannot make that statement about anyone else. Everyone has the opportunity to create whatever reality they desire, and they are creating whatever reality they have been taught to believe is the most likely one. Now, you can assist them by reflecting to them that they have the opportunity to create what they desire rather than what they don't, by becoming conscious about the fact that they create their reality rather than being unconscious about the fact. But the idea is that if you reinforce with your statements that that individual doesn't have a very good probability, then you are reinforcing the negative reality. Because you do not believe it is easy to change. Therefore, you are not functioning as an example to other individuals who can see you as an example of how they might be able to change it. You are simply saying, yes, poor you, you're stuck. They say, well, thanks a lot, pal. Thanks for your faith and your trust in my ability to create my reality. It is all in your attitude, first of all. And that is why your world is in the condition that it is. It's because of the attitudes of life. It is not about what life is inherently. It is about your attitudes of life. And when you feel defeated in that sense, and when you feel that no one has a chance, that's the reality you reinforce.
Well, I don't mean to reinforce
I
that,
know you don't.
but I know that the way our culture is set up right now, that things would get along a lot quicker. There was just a quick fix.
But understand, we are not your civilization, and we cannot interfere in your chosen growth patterns, except to a certain point. We can offer you suggestions, but you don't have to take them. And we have made many suggestions, and they haven't been taken. So we simply allow you to keep going at whatever rate your society says is the rate it wants to learn, that it has the ability to transform itself in whatever way it wants to.
So that was, again, that you put somebody in a magnetic field and...
Understand this. Even if, which I do not have access to at this time in terms of my knowledge, I had access to what you would call the form of a cure in vaccine form, even if that were to be given and injected into someone who had a belief and or need to have the disease, the vaccine would not work. You cure yourself. No one cures you. When you attract into your life the idea of a vaccine that does work, it's because you already believe you can cure yourself, and therefore you simply attract whatever symbol externally represents your decision to already be cured. The vaccine doesn't cure anything. You do.
So is the vaccine going to be a long way coming?
In approximately the idea of what you would call 90 of your days to 1.5 of your years, the completion of a vaccine form of cure will exist as we perceive your energy now. However, that will be representative of the fact that you have all understood, at least on an unconscious level, what the reason for the disease was to begin with that you created. And it was for the purpose of allowing yourselves to become more familiar with your own intimacy and to blend the masculine and feminine aspects within each and every male and female upon your planet and stop judging and invalidating those ideas within yourself. That is why you have dropped your barriers. That is why the idea of AIDS was created, to drop the barriers that your society has held up for so long that prevents the integration of all aspects of your consciousness. It is also an idea that is being shared with the dolphin consciousness upon your planet. For your human forms are not the only species that would be called intelligent aliens upon your world, aliens from our point of view. Humans and dolphins, in that sense, are the two alien species upon the earth. And they are sharing in your dream reality the idea of your particular manifestations, and to some degree are assisting in alleviating the burden. Because many dolphins have now allowed themselves to take upon themselves the idea of physical death by creating their own version of AIDS, and that is why so many of them are washing up upon your shore. They are assisting you in balancing and blending the energy. And because death to them is not the fearful thing that it is to you, they are, in that sense, siphoning off some of that energy by taking it upon themselves to physically die, because they know they exist in ecstasy, and they will be born right back into it. The whole idea is to look at the collective whole of your society, not just the idea of parts. There is very, very, very much so a quick cure, but the quick cure is within you, not external. No external symbol will work if the belief is not within you first, because you create your reality by what you believe to be true. And no doctor on earth or in the universe can cure anyone who is not ready to be cured. Understand? Mm-hmm. Does that assist you? for your willingness to become, I will assume, an example of positive thought.
Thank you.
Now, this timing allow us to extend to each and every one of you our utmost appreciation in your willingness to ring and hear the tone of the vibration that each and every one of you individually and collectively have chosen to be. As you say, the bottom line. You create your reality. You are not responsible for anyone else, but you are responsible to everyone. By being most fully an example of the idea you prefer to be. That is what gives everyone the best opportunity to follow that example for themselves, with their own self-empowerment. If you wish to assist your world, then teach everyone, without forcing the idea upon them out of desperation, that everyone does have the power to create whatever reality he or she desires, without having to hurt anyone else or themselves in order to create it. You have that power. You always have. You always will. Believe it and act like it, and you will see it. Remember, miracles are the natural order of things, not the exception to the rule. Misery is the exception. We thank you for your sharing. We thank you for your boldness. We thank you for your love and the gift of allowing us to experience you in the way you have chosen to manifest yourselves. For no matter what you think of yourselves and no matter what you create, we believe in you. We thank you for this opportunity to share. We thank you for creating your physical reality to be the dream you prefer it to be, because it is a dream and you are dreaming right now. Wake up and live the dream you prefer. Good day to you all.
Thank you.